All right, so picture this. Identical twin horse trainers. A computer whiz hooked on this bizarre South Korean game called Brain Sex, and a shady stock promoter, all mixed up in a high-stakes gamble. Sounds wild, right?
Yeah, it's like something out of a movie.
Yeah, it's the world of the Aussie Switch.
Right.
The 5th book in Jerry Bader's Outlaw Riders series.
Yep.
And today we're going to take a deep dive into it.
Yeah, what I find really intriguing about the Aussie Switch is how it pulls back the curtain on the horse racing world. Like, you see the glitz and glamour, sure, but you also get a glimpse of the grit, the raw ambition, the lengths people will go to for that elusive big score.
Exactly. And the characters in this book, man, they really bring that world to life.
They sure do.
So let's start with the Cisco brothers, Davey and Pauly. Identical twins, both horse trainers, but complete opposites.
Yeah, it's a classic dynamic.
Pauly's more cautious, by the book.
Right.
Davey's a risk taker, always pushing the limits.
Which, as you can imagine, gets him into a heap of trouble.
Oh yeah, and their past in Australia comes back to haunt them in L.A.
It's a big part of what drives the story. They come to L.A. looking for a fresh start.
Right.
But their reputation follows them, and that tension between their approaches to life really fuels some intense conflict throughout the book.
And then you've got Larry Dodd Sims.
Lee.
The computer genius. Brilliant, but more at ease hacking systems than, well, actually talking to people.
Yeah.
He wins a fortune playing this online game, Brain Sex, which, honestly, even the name is strange.
It is, and the game itself is described as this incredibly intricate, almost psychological thriller playing out online. It's all about strategy and deception. Sims, he thrives in that environment. But his success makes him a target. He ends up hacking the game, winning millions, and in doing so, he makes some very powerful enemies.
Talk about a high-risk, high-reward situation.
It is. He attracts the attention of the Pauly Cisco, a South Korean criminal organization, and they are not happy about being cheated.
So now he's got this secret fortune, a dangerous secret, and instead of laying low, he decides to go for an even bigger score.
Right, a pick-6 betting coup.
Which, for anyone not familiar with horse racing, a pick 6 is where you have to pick the winners of 6 consecutive races. The odds are astronomical, but the payout, if you hit it, life-changing money.
Exactly. And Sims thinks he can use his computer skills to game the system.
Of course he does.
He teams up with Davey Cisco.
Oh, this is where it gets interesting.
And this fast-talking stock promoter, James J. Johansson. Together, they form the International Thoroughbred Investment Fund, or IDIF for short. It sounds legitimate, but in reality, it's anything but.
Sounds like a classic con.
It is. They use Johansson's charisma to lure in investors,
Right.
promising them unbelievable returns based on Sims' supposed algorithm
Right.
that can predict race outcomes.
Oh, okay. And at the heart of it all is this promising young horse, Gonzo Ralph, that they won, get this, in a poker game.
And that's where the Aussie Switch comes in. Gonzo gets injured, or at least that's the story they're selling. They spread rumors about his injury to manipulate the odds, all while secretly planning to swap him out with a look-alike horse for the big race, the Mogul Invitational.
Wait, hold on. So they're actually switching horses. How do they even pull that off?
It's a daring plan. And that's where Jessie James enters the picture. She's the head of Hancock Racetrack, a woman with serious power and connections. She sees right through their scheme and decides to play her own hand. Using her influence, she arranges to bring in a ringer, a horse named Crazy Ralph who's practically identical to Gonzo.
So she's turning their con against them. This is like a chess match with incredibly high stakes. But if Gonzo isn't really injured, what's the point of the switch?
Well, Sims isn't just trying to win the race. He's using his position at Total Tote Systems, a major pari-mutuel operator, to hack into the system and manipulate the winning tickets for the Pick 6. He's betting on a long shot, knowing he can change the results after the race is over.
So he's playing both sides, manipulating the odds with the horse switch and then rigging the outcome of the bet itself. Isn't that insanely risky? What if someone catches on?
It's a high-wire act for sure. And as the Mogul Invitational approaches, the pressure mounts. The partners are at each other's throats.
Of course they are.
The Pauly Cisco is closing in, and Jessie James is waiting to spring her trap. It's a pressure cooker, and you can feel the tension building with every page.
Wow, so we've got twin brothers with divided loyalties, a computer genius playing a dangerous game, a shady stock promoter, and a powerful racetrack owner with her own agenda. Plus, a horse swap and a digital heist all rolled into one. I'm hooked already. So what happens when those horses finally hit the track? Okay, so it's race day. the Mogul Invitational, all these schemes and secrets, and now it comes down to this. What's the atmosphere like at the track?
Electric. The crowd's buzzing. The scammers are practically chewing their nails watching their horse, or at least the horse they think is theirs. And Jessie James, she's cool as a cucumber. She knows she's got the upper hand.
And what about Gonzo Ralph? What's it like for him being the secret weapon, ready to prove everyone wrong?
Well, Gonzo's the real deal. A champion in disguise. And I think John Paul, the jockey, he feels that, you know? He's ridden Gonzo before, knows what he's capable of. There's a quiet confidence there, a sense of, we've got this.
So they're both underestimated, written off. That must make the victory all the sweeter.
Talk me through the race. Does Gonzo just blow everyone away, or is it a nail-biter?
It's edge-of-your-seat suspense the whole way.
Yeah.
Early on, it looks like the scammers might actually pull it off. Not so lazy. This powerful red roan takes the lead. And the ITIF guys, they're practically popping champagne already. They're thinking, see, Gonzo's a has-been, we're going to be rich.
Oh, the irony. They have no clue. They're not even watching the real Gonzo.
It's classic dramatic irony. And then, slowly but surely, Gonzo starts making his move. He's gaining ground. The crowd's going wild, cheering on this supposed underdog. But for the scammers, each stride Gonzo takes is like a punch to the gut. So they're watching their supposed fortunes slip away. And they can't figure out why. What's going through their minds? Are they suspicious at all, or are they just blinded by greed?
I think they're so focused on their own scheme they miss all the signs. But for Jessie James and those in the know, it's a beautiful thing to watch. Justice being served one stride at a time.
Okay, so we're in the final stretch. What happens?
It's neck and neck, Gonzo and Not So Lazy. A true photo finish. The crowd's on its feet roaring. And then, in a burst of power and heart, Gonzo surges ahead. He crosses the finish line first. It's a stunning upset.
A victory for Gonzo, for Jessie James, for the idea that you can't cheat your way to the top.
Wow. But what about Sims? He's still got his digital heist in motion, right?
He does. While all the drama's unfolding on the track, Sims is busy at work. He manages to alter the pick 6 tickets. Makes it look like he and his partners picked all 6 winners.
So he actually pulls it off. He hacks the system. But it's all for nothing, because the horse they bet on lost. Exactly. Their whole plan backfires spectacularly. They're celebrating their win, completely oblivious to the fact that they've been played. Their house of cards is about to come crashing down.
Talk about a fall from grace. So what happens to the scammers? They don't exactly get to ride off into the sunset, do they?
Not quite. Remember the Pauly Cisco, the South Korean organization Sims crossed? Well, they catch up with him and Davey. And let's just say their methods of payback are swift and brutal.
So they don't make it out alive. What about Johansson, the smooth-talking stock promoter? Does he escape justice?
He tries to. But Mo Feels, the Hong Mian triad enforcer, catches up with him. Jessie James has her own network, ensuring none of the scammers get away clean.
It's a harsh ending, but there's a certain satisfaction in seeing those who exploit and deceive get their comeuppance. What about the others caught in the crossfire? Like Tony Trufator, Gonzo's trainer. He's a good guy, right?
Yeah. Tony's complicated. He gets caught up in the scheme, tempted by the easy money. But deep down, he knows it's wrong. He survives, but he's haunted by his choices. It shows how these schemes can corrupt even those with good intentions.
So in a way, he's the moral compass of the story. He reminds us of the human cost of these schemes. And Gonzo, what happens to the champion horse? Does he get to enjoy his victory?
Gonzo comes out of the chaos as a symbol of resilience, of pure talent. Proof that even in a world obsessed with manipulation, genuine ability can still win. He represents something real in the midst of so much fakery.
His victory is a powerful image. And what about Jessie James? She operates in a morally gray area herself, right? Walking a fine line between seeking justice and using some pretty questionable methods.
Jessie's a force to be reckoned with. She operates in the shadows, wielding power and influence. She eliminates the scammers, protects her racetrack, restores order. But you're left wondering about the cost of her actions, the compromises she makes.
So in the world of the Aussie Switch, there are no easy answers, no clear-cut heroes and villains. Everyone's playing their own game.
Exactly, and that's what makes the book so compelling. It forces you to confront some uncomfortable truths about power, morality, the choices we make when the stakes are high.
It's more than just a thrilling ride. It's a story that sticks with you, makes you think about the world and the shades of gray we all navigate. It's fascinating how the Aussie Switch takes these familiar elements, like the con, the underdog story, the revenge plot, and it weaves them into something so intricate, So thought-provoking.
It really does, and what I find particularly compelling is that the book doesn't shy away from the darkness beneath the surface of this glamorous world. You really see the greed, the ruthlessness, the moral compromises people make when the stakes are high.
Yeah, it's like a glimpse behind the curtain, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah.
Showing us that even in a seemingly structured world like horse racing, there's this undercurrent of manipulation, power plays. It makes you wonder how much of what we see is real and how much is just smoke and mirrors.
That's a question that goes beyond the book, doesn't it? Think about the news we consume, the stories we're told. How much of it is filtered through someone else's agenda, their desire to control the narrative?
It's kind of unsettling when you think about it like that. Makes you want to question everything, look for the hidden angles, the motivations.
Exactly. And that's the power of a good story, right? It challenges us to think critically, to question our assumptions, to engage with the world around us in a more discerning way.
The book ends on this chilling line. In this world, you're either the one doing the fucking or the one getting fucked. It's brutal, but it also feels incredibly honest. A reflection of that cutthroat reality that Bader portrays.
It does, and I think that line gets to the heart of the book's central question. What are you willing to do to come out on top? Are you going to play by the rules even if it means getting left behind? Or are you willing to do whatever it takes to win, even if it means crossing ethical lines?
Tough question. And the book doesn't offer any easy answers. It really leaves you wrestling with those implications. It's almost like Bader saying, here's the world, warts and all. What are you going to do about it?
And that's what makes it so powerful. It doesn't give you any solutions, no comforting platitudes. It just throws you into this morally ambiguous world, forces you to confront your own values and beliefs.
It's a challenging read,
Yeah.
but it's incredibly rewarding. It stays with you long after you finish it. Makes you look at the world with fresh eyes. Question the motivations of those in power. Consider what compromises you might be willing to make in your own life.
The Aussie Switch is a reminder that the line between right and wrong is often blurred, and that the choices we make, they have real consequences, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. It's a story that challenges us to be more aware, more discerning, ultimately more responsible for the choices we make in a world where the stakes are always high.
Well, I think we've thoroughly unpacked the Aussie Switch. It's been a wild ride through the underbelly of horse racing, a journey into the dark heart of ambition and greed, and a powerful exploration of the moral dilemmas we all face.
Absolutely. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend picking up a copy. But be prepared for a story that will make you question your assumptions, keep you on the edge of your seat, and leave you thinking long after you've turned the final page.
Great advice. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.